You're standing outside a marble mansion at 3 in the morning, and your only job is to make sure the man inside doesn't get killed. Sounds simple, right? Except your client isn't some celebrity or tech billionaire. He's an apex predator in a $1,000 suit. The kind of man who decides which politicians get elected and which rivals end up in shallow graves. You're not protecting an innocent. You're the human shield for America's most untouchable criminal. 6 months ago, you were broke. Your military pension barely covered rent, and private security gigs were drying up faster than your savings account. Then a recruiter in a black sedan pulled up outside your apartment. No small talk. Just a briefcase with 50 grand in cash and a simple question. How much do you value your conscience? You should have walked away, but your landlord was already threatening eviction, and your daughter's college tuition wasn't going to pay itself. You took the money, you shook the hand, and just like that, you sold whatever was left of your soul. Training was psychological warfare disguised as orientation. They didn't teach you how to stop bullets. They taught you how to ignore your humanity. One rule hammered into your skull: your life is worthless compared to his. If a shooter opens fire, you don't duck. You become the wall. Your first day on the job, you meet him. He's shorter than you expected, mid-50s, with the kind of calm that only comes from absolute power. He doesn't acknowledge you. To him, you're furniture that bleeds. He's on a phone call, casually ordering someone's financial destruction while his chef prepares breakfast. You stand 3 feet behind him, scanning exits. He hangs up, cuts into his omelet, and without looking at you says, "If I die, your family dies 10 minutes later. Remember that." No threat in his voice, just facts. The head of his security team is a guy named Tony. Ex-military like you, but Tony's been here 4 years. He knows the rhythms, the rules, the unspoken boundaries. He shows you the ropes your first week, where to stand during meetings, how to read the boss's mood from the angle of his shoulders, which rooms have cameras and which ones don't. Tony's good at this. Too good. He's stopped seeing the moral problem entirely. To him, this is just a job with excellent benefits. Tony tells you something on your third night that sticks. He says the trick isn't protecting the boss from outside threats. It's protecting yourself from becoming him. He says it like a joke. You realize later it wasn't. The work is suffocating. You're with him 18 hours a day. You watch him close billion-dollar deals in boardrooms where senators sit like obedient dogs. You watch him order people's lives destroyed with the same tone he uses to order wine. And you do nothing. Because doing nothing keeps your daughter safe. The job warps your brain. You start seeing threats everywhere. That jogger across the street? Possible scout. The cleaning lady? Could be compromised. Your wife notices you flinching at car backfires. Your daughter asks why you don't smile anymore. You lie and say work is stressful, then comes the night that changes everything. You're doing a routine security sweep of his estate when you find a hidden room behind his study. The door's ajar, which never happens. Inside, file cabinets full of photographs, young faces, flight logs to private islands, guest lists with names you've seen on television, in Congress, on magazine covers, receipts for private jets, hotel suites, payments to recruiters in 6 different countries, a ledger tracking girls by age, origin, and destination like they were inventory. This isn't white-collar crime. This is a trafficking operation run like a Fortune 500 company. Your hands shake as you photograph the documents with your phone. Every click feels like a gunshot. 60 seconds before the patrol cycle brings another guard past this hallway. You're on photo 43 when you hear footsteps. Heavy boots on marble. You slip the files back, kill your phone's screen, and step into the hallway just as Marcus rounds the corner. Marcus is the relief guard. Quiet, professional, been here 2 years. He looks at you. You look at him. "Bathroom," you say. He nods and keeps walking. But something in Marcus's eyes stays with you. A flicker. Not suspicion exactly. Recognition. Like he knows what's in that room, and he knows what you just saw. The next morning, your boss calls you into his office. He slides a manila envelope across his desk. Inside, printed screenshots of your text messages. The ones you sent your wife complaining about the job. Nothing incriminating, just vague frustrations. But he has them. Every word. He's been reading your private conversations for months. He says he's not angry. Disappointed, maybe. Then he pivots. He shows you a wire transfer. $2 million in an offshore account with your name on it. Yours if you recommit. All you have to do is delete those photos from last night. He knows. The blind spot wasn't a blind spot. It was a test. You do the only thing a cornered animal can do. You buy time. You spin a story about gathering evidence to protect him, identifying vulnerabilities before his enemies could. He studies your face. Then he smiles. The smile of a predator deciding whether to eat you now or save you for later. You pull out your phone and delete the photos in front of him. What he doesn't know is they uploaded to an encrypted cloud the moment you took them. That night, you find Tony in the security office. You don't tell him about the photos. You ask him a hypothetical. What would you do if you found something that could bring the whole thing down? Tony doesn't blink. He says he'd forget he found it. He says the last guy who tried to be a hero ended up in one of those files you pretend you haven't seen. Tony pours you a drink. You take it. He says something that hits harder than the whiskey. You think you're different from the rest of us. You're not. You're just newer. 2 weeks later, Marcus disappears. Not fired, not transferred, just gone. His locker is cleaned out overnight. Tony mentions it once at breakfast. Says Marcus requested a transfer. The way he says it, flat and rehearsed, tells you everything. Marcus didn't request anything. Marcus saw something. Or someone decided he saw something. You never find out what happened to Marcus. You never ask. Because asking is how you end up in a cleaned out locker too. You make a decision. You contact a former colleague from your government days who runs a digital security firm. You meet in a parking garage at 2 in the morning. No phones. You hand him a thumb drive with everything. Photos, flight logs, guest lists, wire transfers, names, dates, locations. He asks what you want. You tell him to hold it. If anything happens to you or your family, everything goes to the FBI, the DEA, and every major news outlet simultaneously. A dead man's switch. 3 weeks pass. You play the perfect soldier. You smile at the boss's jokes. You take the family to Disneyland on his dime. Then the call comes. Special assignment. An address in the industrial district. Midnight. You arrive at a warehouse. Your boss and 3 men you don't recognize. Eastern European accents. Dead eyes. In the center of the room, a man zip-tied to a chair, bloodied. Your boss hands you a gun. Says the man is a federal informant. Eliminating him proves your loyalty and seals the deal with the new partners. You raise the gun. Your hand doesn't shake anymore. That part of you died somewhere between the first bribe and the last lie. You pull the trigger. The sound echoes like a judge's gavel. The gun was loaded with blanks. The whole thing was theater. The man gets up, wipes fake blood off his face, lights a cigarette. Everyone laughs except you. You realize your boss isn't testing loyalty. He's conditioning you. Each compromise makes the next one easier. Each moral line you cross becomes the new baseline. He's not building an employee. He's building a monster who won't hesitate when the gun has real bullets. That night, your daughter hugs you and says she loves you. That hug breaks something inside you that money can't fix. You activate the dead man's switch early. Everything goes to the authorities. But you add one more element, a full confession. Names, dates, amounts, methods, every flight you secured, every guest you let through the door, every young face you saw and pretended not to see. You don't ask for a deal. You just tell the truth. The FBI comes at dawn. Not for your boss, for you. They arrest you in front of your family. Your wife screams. Your daughter cries. You don't resist. You don't say a word. In the interrogation room, they want you to testify, to wear a wire. They offer immunity, witness protection, a fresh start. You say no. Not because you're noble, because your boss has connections that reach into prisons, police departments, and protection programs. Cooperation means your family spends their lives looking over their shoulders. At least if you go to prison clean, the threat ends with you. The trial is quick. You plead guilty to everything: racketeering, money laundering, conspiracy. The judge looks at your military record, looks at the crimes, and looks genuinely sad. 18 years. Your testimony gives the FBI enough to move. They can't get your boss on everything, but they nail him on trafficking, conspiracy, and financial crimes. He gets 12 years in a facility that's basically a country club. You get more time for being honest than he gets for running the operation. Tony testifies too. Not voluntarily. They caught him trying to leave the country with $4 million in cash. Tony cuts a deal. Full cooperation in exchange for reduced time. He gives them everything. Names you didn't have, island visits you didn't know about, guest lists that make politicians resign overnight. Tony gets 6 years. You got 18 for telling the truth. Tony got 6 for waiting until he had no choice. Prison is what you expected, but something unexpected happens. The fear that controlled your life disappears. You're not juggling lies, not waiting for the other shoe to drop. For the first time since you took that first bribe, you sleep through the night. Your daughter writes every week. Your wife divorces you. You don't blame her. But your daughter never stops writing. She tells you about school, friends, her life. She never asks when you're getting out. You've got 11 years left. Your daughter will be 20 when you're free. You'll have missed her entire childhood because you were too weak to say no. But she'll have a father who finally told the truth. And somewhere out there, Marcus is either alive or he isn't. You'll never know. But you think about him every time a new guard rounds the corner at night. The quiet ones who see everything. The ones who nod and keep walking. The ones who disappear without explanation. You hope he made it out. You hope he's somewhere with a clean locker and a clean conscience. But hope is a luxury you stopped affording a long time ago. Tony writes you once from his minimum security facility. Says he's learning to play golf. Says prison isn't so bad when you've got money on your books. Says he hopes there's no hard feelings. You don't write back. Some people survive by telling the truth. Some survive by cutting deals. And some disappear without a trace, leaving nothing behind but an empty locker and a question nobody bothers to ask. You chose the truth. Tony chose the deal. Marcus chose silence. You're the only one still paying for it.